All right. Welcome back to the channel. So, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury get a big offer from someone to host the fight, their trilogy fight, the third fight in their trilogy. Let's talk about the offer, who made it, and whether or not it should be accepted. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are in the midst of, God, how do you say this? There's supposed to be a third fight between the two of them. And there's a lot of questions about where it's going to be. Now, Tyson Fury is the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. He beat Deontay Wilder in his last fight, and they had pre-negotiated a trilogy, a 3-fight deal. And that was one of the smarter moves that Deontay Wilder has had, because the 3-fight deal pretty much wraps it up as, the dude is never, ever going to have to pick up, he's never going to have to get back on a truck and deliver beer and pop to grocery stores like he was doing before he came to boxing. Tyson Fury, set money-wise for the rest of his life. Great, smart move for both of those guys to make, to go into the fight saying, hey, man, we're going to do 3, similar to the way that, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier did 3. There's been a lot of really great trilogies in the sport of boxing. Not a lot as of lately, but, probably the last really good one at heavyweight, I think, was Riddick Bowe versus Evander Holyfield. Love multiple fights in boxing. So the last one had for me, I think it was a controversial end, because there was a lot of people speculating, and I believe that based on what I've seen, they have a good reason to speculate that some stuff really happened funny in the last fight. So I'm very much looking forward to this third fight. For Deontay Wilder, it's an opportunity for him to get his belt back, and for him to overcome, show as a champion that he can do what some of the greatest champions have ever done, which is come back from from losing the biggest fight of their career, and coming back and getting a championship again. Muhammad Ali did that against Joe Frazier when he won the championship back against George Foreman. It's just Joe Louis did that with it's not James J. Braddock. Maybe it was James J. Braddock. But when he won his I don't think he had the championship at the time he lost, but he overcomes the guy, comes back and beats him, and then becomes a big hero, right? So that's what we're looking at right now in the heavyweight division for either Tyson Fury having a comeback, really, and proving he's the best heavyweight in the world after having lost his belts against Vladimir Klitschko in, let's quite admit it, humiliating fashion, because he didn't lose it against him, losing the belts he won against Vladimir Klitschko in what should be humiliating fashion by testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs and getting them taken from you and all the crap that happened with him. But here we are today. That is what got us here today. Now, the problem is that we got hit with a gigantic virus that put the rest of pretty much all of the world on, preventing fights from happening all throughout the world. Boxing has actually been shut down for the last 3 months. You guys have been here every day with me. So the question is, where is this fight going to take place? There has been conversations about it being over in the Middle East, something that I think is absolutely, I used to say I would think that it was just morally reprehensible to do so. But since the United States of America right now is not looking like the world leader in human rights, what difference? It might need to go over to Bahrain, man. You know what I mean? Because, they might just... So anyway, I'll leave it alone. I don't want to get too much into that, but you get my point. There's conversations and people trying to figure out where this fight can be. Is the fight going to be behind closed doors, or where there's no fans or very few fans? Well, that can't happen because of the amount of money that these guys are making. They're both two of the highest paid fighters in boxing, with Deontay, with both of them, according to Forbes, having made over $40 million last year. And yeah, even though the order that they have it in, that's a little funny. I've done videos about that. But you see that it's not going to work for them to have it behind closed doors. As far as where it would go, there's now been an offer from Dean Longran, who was the promoter for the Manny Pacquiao versus Jeff Horn fight in Australia. He is saying that that number one, they had a great time, and for Australia is a boxing country. They're the home of, I do believe, Jeff Finnick is there. I'm not sure if Costa Zoo lives in Australia, but obviously Jeff Horn. All right, so they have a boxing history, and they have, actually it's a lot longer than that. Sam Langford from who's called, the Boston Tar Baby. Gotta love that nickname, right? Boston Tar Baby won the Australian heavyweight championship there in the early 1900s. So boxing has been from the beginning a popular sport in Australia. Now, the reason why they might be able to put forth the money, number one, and it could be important to Australia, is because they need there's not been a lot of tourism, and I'm quite sure that Australia makes, one of their, major sources of their income is tourism. People like to go down and, see the kangaroos and things like that. But with this virus and stuff going on, that has not been as, obviously it should have taken a hit. And when you bring in big boxing events, the crowds will come out, right? You might have people that will go and come overseas if they're allowed in Australia, actually. But they're willing to put for Manny Pacquiao versus Jeff Horn. They were willing to put forth a lot of money to bring Manny Pacquiao there. Now, the Manny Pacquiao fight versus Jeff Horn wound up being a very, very big fight in Australia. They made a lot of money, and they felt, and actually they had put in the clause is for the fight, if there was a rematch, it was going to take place. So if Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao, that the second fight would be there in Australia. So they wanted the fight to get back. They wanted the fight back in Australia again. Now, if you guys remember what took place there, if you don't remember, let me remind you that when Manny Pacquiao was kind of wishy-washy about whether or not he was going to come back and do the rematch in Australia, and it wound up he was just dead set no, that he wasn't. The Queensland government, I do believe, was, and I'm not very familiar with how Australia is organized, but I believe it's Queensland. The government of Queensland told them no, until you know the Manny Pacquiao's coming, we're not interested in having that fight. So I say that to communicate the fact that more than likely they're interested in, or they are interested in, bringing really big names. Now, the biggest fight in all of boxing is Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. It's an absolute huge fight, and I'm quite sure that they would love to have that fight. Now, I personally, if it's going to be outside the United States, if I had my druthers, I would rather it be in Australia than have it be in Bahrain. Now, Bahrain is something else that I do believe is vying for it, and I'm pretty sure that the private investors in Bahrain have more money to give to the fight than the government of Queensland. And there's some other dynamics that I put on a Patreon video involved in that. But, there's probably more money for the fight for those guys in Bahrain. But, as far as accessibility to the fight, and I do believe that this is also, by the way, supposed to be on Christmas. They're making the offer for, what was it, Bank West Stadium on Christmas Day. Now, they said that they would put it on Boxer's Day. I'm not sure what Boxer's Day is. I've heard that before. I'm pretty sure it's not about the dog. It's not about the dog, nor is it about the sport. I do believe that the boxers, when they refer to Boxer's Day or Boxing Day, that it's related to something else. But they said the offer is to put the fight on Boxer's Day at like 1:00 in the afternoon, and that they would then it would be aired in a different time zone in America and be, prime time on Christmas Day. So, hey, I would take it over the Bahrain thing. I like the date because, hey, man, that's a great fight to be watching on Christmas Day. I wouldn't mind it at all if it happened. So anyway, that's what it is. You let me know what you think about it and where the fight should be. And with that, I'm out. Peace.